Hello, Andy Strong here, and welcome back to the Fundamentally Fit podcast with me, your host, Andy Strong. And a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to wherever it is that you are listening or tuning in and watching this week's podcast. It is episode number 49. As regular listeners will know, we've been off the air for probably 4 or maybe even 5 weeks now. And the reason for that is that I have been away on my honeymoon and I have been celebrating getting married, which has been really exciting. If you're watching over on YouTube, I'll pop a few photos up here so you can see what we got up to. But we were very lucky. We got married up in beautiful Kenmore, up in the Highlands of Scotland. We had amazing weather. Wasn't due to be as sunny and lovely as it was. 50% chance of torrential rain, and we didn't see a single drop all day. It was beautiful sunshine. We managed to get married outside on the jetty as we had planned and as we had hoped, and it was just a beautiful, lovely day. Kirsty looked absolutely amazing. All our friends and family were there, and it was just a very special day, and we couldn't be happier, to be perfectly honest. But that being done, we saw all of our friends and family off on the Monday, and then we headed off into the Highlands for a few days as well, and then we jetted off to Shetland, the most northerly island in the UK. Once we were there, we took in lots of walking, looked at the beautiful cliffs, did a lot of photography, which was really good fun, and then also managed to take in the UK's most northerly park run as well. So we stayed in Lerwick, which fans of the Shetland detective series will be very familiar. I went and had a look at Jimmy Perez's house, which was quite fun. Managed to watch them film some of the series, which was unexpected little bonus. But we stayed in Lerwick, and on a Saturday morning we had to take the ferry to Brescia, which is where we did the park run. It was really friendly, super friendly, nicely organised, quite challenging little route, but quite fast, to be honest. We were very lucky because the weather was great, but the week before and certainly the week after were not as lucky. Lots of fog, lots of strong winds, which are quite common as they blow across the island. But what a lovely trip. Lovely island. All we had to contend with was landing at Aberdeen in 65-mile-an-hour winds on a plane that holds 30 people, and I can tell you now that was the scariest 15 minutes of my life. But that being said, I'm back at work, back to the regular scheduled release of the podcast, so we'll be with you every week now moving forward into Christmas. And in episode 49, what I really want to talk to you about is stop looking and start committing, and the reason your weight loss is failing. And this is something that I've been doing a lot of reading while I've been away, but this is a concept and something that I've kind of been working on for a while, and something I think will hopefully resonate with quite a few people, particularly because of the time of year that we are as well. So stop looking, start committing is all about stepping back and stop looking for answers to everything. And actually, quite often the answer is already there, and actually it's much more about committing to what you can do, or committing to the thing that's realistic for you, even if that is only for that short period of time, rather than looking for the golden bullet, the magic bullet, that super duper solution that's going to be the answer to everything. And how actually often we can get caught in paralysis just by looking for the answer and actually never really taking any meaningful action, and never getting any results as a consequence of that. And this is great for this time of year because I absolutely love this time of year, and not least because it's beautiful for running and walking, particularly because the leaves are changing, everything looks nice. We've got beautiful sunsets in the evening when it's a clear day, but it is also a really good time in terms of your health and fitness, particularly for losing weight as well. And the reason for that is because we've gone through September now, and so when this podcast goes out, it will be October. And what that means is that our summer holidays are well and truly done, unless you maybe didn't have kids and you're taking a late holiday, in which case, enjoy. But for most people, holidays will have been done quite some time ago. Kids well and truly back at school and into their routine. Work is back into its regular routine. And so now actually we are back to where we would be normally in the year. Now, half terms aside, this is a really good time to focus. And the reason for that is because between now, where we are, October, through till end of November, start of December, we've probably got 8 or 9 weeks, maybe even a little bit more, depending on when you're listening to this, that you can actually focus really hard and really well. And the reason for this is because the kids are back at school, there's not as many holidays, social events and things to distract you. Most people have a quieter period between September and certainly the end of November before things do really ramp up for Christmas. And so if you are serious about your health and weight loss goals, this is a really, really good time. And so it might be that you want to lose the weight that you maybe gained after your summer holiday so you can get back to your holiday weight. Maybe you want to keep working on goals that you've been working on all year and you want to really maximize what you've already achieved. Maybe you want to start afresh and you just want to set yourself some new goals and actually get yourself moving forward. Or maybe maybe you're getting married in the spring and you want to start 2019 in a really good place and not in a negative place. Either way, it makes much more sense now at this time of year to set some really clear focused goals and work hard towards them, because if you don't, it can be so easy to just drift into the new year, and it might feel like that's still a really long way away, but the reality is it's not. It's just around the corner. We're going to cruise through October before you know it. As soon as November hits, everyone will start talking about Christmas. The shops are going to start reeling out all of the Christmas decorations, Christmas food. It's going to be in your face everywhere you go. You're going to be eating mince pies before you know it, and then that's going to have a really big impact come January, and you don't want to start that cycle all over again where it comes to January, you're depressed because you've eaten too much for 6 to 8 weeks, and you just want to get back to normal, and you're looking at extreme alternatives to losing weight, detoxes which don't do anything, expensive weight loss regimes that aren't going to last as long as the direct debit does, and hopefully let's see if we can't set you up for a little bit more success by thinking a bit more constructively now about how you can stop looking and start committing to your goals and to your approach. And so kind of the best way to describe this is when I lost my weight. So I was again for new viewers, new watchers, I was 3 stone over, or just over 3 stone overweight when I was younger. And when I lost that weight, it didn't happen overnight. It took me quite a long time. It took me probably 2 years or more to really get down to my final weight that I maintained for the longest time. And so it wasn't something that required one approach. It wasn't something that was one particular magic diet, one thing that I did. It was an amalgamation of skills and things that I did over that whole period of time, from learning to cook, getting to the gym once I'd lost a little bit of weight and had the confidence. It was about planning my meals that I took to work. It was about reducing my intake of fizzy drinks and swapping them out for water and flavoured waters. It was all of these things together over a long time. And if I'd been waiting for just one magic answer, I'd probably still be 3.5 stone overweight now. But because I was prepared to commit to the things that I could do, I was able to move forward much, much faster. And so I often think people are very much like the Ice Age squirrel when they think about their weight loss. And so, you can start really, really well on one approach, and then all of a sudden you hear that your friend is doing something new. They're doing a juicing plan, or they're taking a meal replacement product, or you've read something in the news that says, your favourite celebrities got these super fitness and lifestyle hacks, and these 3 things they did helped them drop, 7 pounds in a week. And all of a sudden, just like the Ice Age squirrel, you see that shiny nut and you get distracted. And all of a sudden, everything is all about chasing that nut. And then all of a sudden, you see another nut, and then you're distracted and you go and chase that one. But never really committing to do that one thing and actually see it through and see how you can integrate that into your own lifestyle and into your own routine. So, again, my weight loss took a couple of years. And here's the big thing. Despite the fact that my weight loss did take a couple of years, I didn't have to wait until I had lost all of that weight before I felt better, in the energy that I had, in the confidence that I had, and the confidence to go to the gym and to get an instructor to help me. It didn't take me 2 years until I was feeling more confident in my cooking skills. It didn't take me 2 years to feel more confident in the clothes that I was wearing. Now, certainly, I'm in the same size jeans, the same size shirts that I was in once I lost all that weight today, as I was back then. So I've maintained that for well over 10 years now, which I'm really proud of. So in that respect, I've maintained all of that. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I had to wait until I got down to that size before I started feeling better in the clothes that I was wearing. So when I went from a 38-inch waist and I went down to 36, I felt much better. I felt more confident in those clothes. And then when I went from a 36-inch trouser down to a 34, I felt even better again. But I didn't have to wait until I got down to where I am now to feel ultimately happy. It was a long process, and it was something that I had to work towards. But the real thing was that I committed to it, and I committed to my approach, and I added on to it to help me move forward. Now, if we let's take a step back from what I did, let's have a look at diets overall, because there are so many of them that you're completely forgiven. And it's understandable that you'd be confused as to which one to follow, which one is the healthiest, which one is the most effective for the weight loss, which is the most suitable for vegans, which is the most applicable based on your lifestyle. And all of these are fair questions, and working out what is the best answer is something that I do with all of my clients. We find the best approach based on their lifestyle. I have my busiest clients. I tend to think that 5-2 works really well, or not so much 5-2, but intermittent fasting as an approach works really, really well, particularly here in the city. Whereas if I have new mums and people who maybe have a little bit more time at home where they could potentially prepare more food, then quite often they will do much better on a macros approach, where we look at what they're eating and balance it out and teach them some new skills and cook some new things. More of a traditional approach. So it really depends on who you are as to which of these approaches that you choose. The ultimate thing is, if we're really honest, none of them are better than the other. Now, there are pros and cons in terms of health for all of them, and we can argue those all day long. And there are pros and cons as speed and effectiveness as to how quickly they'll help you lose weight. And we can argue those too. But in essence, they are all the same, because the very best diet is the one that you can stick to. And so, you could argue that, let's say, for example, intermittent fasting is the 10 out of 10 for rapid weight loss in 12 weeks, right? Just as an example. I'm not saying that it is, I'm just saying it's an example. Now, alongside that, you might have a classic calorie reduction based diet. Calorie deficit, just straight counting your calories, using MyFitnessPal, looking at your macronutrients, your carbs, your fats, your proteins alongside it, and that might only rank 6 out of 10 for the most amount of weight lost in 12 weeks. Now, you can have one individual who will absolutely thrive by the calorie deficit and watching their macronutrient intake, whereas you will have another individual who will absolutely thrive on the 5-2 approach based on their lifestyle, what they've got time for, what's realistic for them. And so just looking at these things on face value, what we read in magazines, what we see on TV, it doesn't really answer that question as to what's going to fit you the best, because you might have the diet that technically and scientifically on paper might be the healthiest, the best for you, the rapidest in weight loss, the best in nutrient uptake, whatever way you want to look at it. But ultimately, that is all secondary to what you can stick to and what you can fit into your routine as an individual. And so we can get far too hung up in looking for the best solution and looking for the next best solution and looking to see if what someone else is doing is better than what we are doing. But actually the bigger problem is that we're not committing enough to that one approach for long enough to see the results that we need. And this is a really good time to kind of get your head in gear, focus on that approach and actually see some quality results. Now, if we look at diets as well from another point of view, they are all essentially the same. Now, regardless of how they're creating their calorie deficit to help you lose weight, there are a lot of fundamentals in the majority of the dietary approaches that we look at that are all very similar to one extent or another. All of them are going to encourage you to get plenty of fruits and vegetables every day, apart from some of the ketogenic diets, but we're not going to jump down that rabbit hole. But the vast majority of sensible diets will be recommending that you get a good intake of fruits and vegetables each and every day. They'll also be recommending that you get plenty of water, 1.5 to 2 litres a day, depending on your activity and depending on how hot the weather is. So again, there's something else there that most of them will agree on. If we go a little bit deeper, then a lot of them will agree on you getting good quality sources of lean protein, which in most cases and most diets will include things like lean sources of proteins such as chicken breast. It will be things like oily fish like salmon, white fish, seafood in general. It will be things like tofu, it will be things like chickpeas, and it will be things like nut butters, and all of these things as well. So there are lots of things that they agree on. If we also look deeper, all of the diets will encourage you not to drink, or they will encourage you to reduce your alcohol intake, and that's because there's a lot of empty calories that are going to hold back your weight loss. So reducing or cutting out your alcohol for maybe even a 6 to 12 week period while you're focusing on your weight loss, a really sensible thing to do. You're going to sleep better, you're going to get better depth and quality of sleep, and that's going to help with your weight loss because you're going to be less stressed, less stress hormone in your system, means you're going to be less likely to store excess fat, and on top of all that, you're going to save a lot of calories that the body just can't use. If we look a little bit deeper, again, most diets will agree that you should reduce the amount of processed foods in your diet. That means not eating too many ready meals. It means not eating too many smoked and processed meats. It means that you should be trying to avoid anything that goes in the microwave, but also there's been a big increase in ready meals that go in the oven that look much healthier and look much more like real meals, but these are still ready meals, they're still processed, and so trying to reduce those as well is a really, really good idea. Pretty much all of your diets that you come across, they're going to recommend that you reduce your sugar intake or added sugar intake. That means reducing things like yogurts with added sugar. It's going to be things like chocolate and crisps, more from a fat point of view. It's also going to be things like ice cream. It's going to be all of those things that kind of make up the sugary intake in our diet, added sugar. And then of course we're going to be looking to reduce saturated fat from the unhealthiest sources, which is again going to be your takeaways. It's going to be processed foods. It's going to be fried foods, and it's going to be pastries and all of those types of things. So if we look at all of the things that the majority of dietary approaches agree on, you can create the majority of what a proper diet should be made up of anyway, without adding in the detail of, should I eat this on this day? Should I not eat until 12 o'clock? Should I not eat carbohydrates here? Should I only eat carbohydrates after my exercise? You can kind of cut 50-60% of that out of the equation of what you need to worry about, and just focus on those other things, and actually you're going to improve massively in terms of the quality of your diet anyway. And so if you stop looking for the best solution, start committing to what can be done and what they all agree on, the things we've talked about here: reducing your processed meats, increasing your water, plenty of fruits and veg, 7 a day if you can, all of those things. That's going to be a really positive step forward, and the rest you need to work out how to fit into your lifestyle and your routine. Happy to help you with that. That is something that I do specialise in helping people do, is taking the difficult aspects of their diet and their routine and actually building something that fits for them and helping them select the approach that fits their lifestyle, because none of them are better than the other in my opinion, but people do have certain circumstances where one might be more applicable or more helpful or more beneficial to help them progress, certainly in the interim. And so I always think of that when you look at this and you compare diet and exercise, there is a really, really good comparison, and that is, in the world of exercise, there are a few exercises that are kind of like the old stalwarts. They've been around for forever. They're things like your bench press, your deadlift, your squat, and they're classic movements, and they're classic movements for a reason. They've been around forever because they're the ones that work. They're the fruits and veg of your training regime. They're your lean proteins of your diet and your water. They've been around forever. They're the ones that work. They're the ones that get the best results. They're the ones that save the most time, that work the most muscle groups, train most efficiently, and they're the ones that people should be doing more of. Now, not to go off on a tangent, but what we see in the world of fitness is that people always want the new, the shiny, the something crazy. Whether it's on Instagram and it's somebody jumping over a swing and doing a burpee, or they're trying to do a handstand on a Swiss ball, and that stuff is it's fun to watch, it's fun to look at and go, that's a bit crazy, but it doesn't add anything. it doesn't bring anything new to your fitness. It doesn't bring anything that you should really aspire to. It's not doing anything that really fundamentally is going to help you. You know, if you could do a burpee over a swing, a child's play swing while it's swinging, is that really going to change the quality of your life? Is it really going to improve the quality of, you know, how your clothes fit and how much confidence you've got? Or actually is doing some of the classic moves, the deadlifts and things, give some toning to the areas that you want and actually give you some core strength so your back doesn't hurt? Is that not going to be more effective? And in case of our diet, is it not going to be more effective to focus on those things that are going to have the biggest impact? You know, getting your 5 to 7 a day, drinking the right amount of water, getting lean quality sources of protein, reducing those processed meats and processed foods. That's going to have the bigger impact for you. You know, so if we stop looking for, you know, the best exercise, the best diet, the best solution, the thing that's going to get me 100% there, you're going to get there a lot faster, because you're going to start focusing and committing to the things that you can do and committing to the things that you do. And once you start doing that, you will start progressing forwards. So it's a little bit like, and I'm going to bring this full circle back to the wedding. When I was thinking this through, it is a lot like finding a partner. And, you know, when you're younger, or you may be in your 20s, it can be really easy to keep seeing new people and to not want to commit, because you want something new and you want to be free to try new things and meet new people, and you're not really sure where you want to be, and you don't want to commit too soon and get trapped into something that makes you unhappy or unfulfilled. And the big problem here is that actually you end up missing out on what is better. You know, the being in a relationship with somebody that you care about, it's the having somebody to talk to when you come home, it's somebody to having to share those struggles with, it's the person that understands you, it's the person that when you're having a bad day and you're being a complete arse, will tell you that you're being a complete arse and actually, you know, pull you out of the funk and the slump that you found yourself in. And actually is very, very similar with our diets and with our health. You know, it can be easy to think that, you know, I don't want to commit to this diet because, you know, the next one might be the one. The next one might be the one that helps me lose a stone in a week. So if I just hang on, or if I just go and try something new, or if I only half follow this diet based on what it said, then I'm still able to go and do something else next week. And that approach, that never committing, is why you're failing. It doesn't mean that you have to not change your approach ever. It doesn't mean you can never try new things. But what it does mean is that you need to commit for long enough, realistically enough, to actually see some results and actually learn what were the goods, what were the pros, what were the cons, and actually build the positives and learn from the negatives into what you do next to move you forward. That's how I lost my weight. That's how I've kept that weight off all of this time, and it's why I'm able to catch myself when I start to struggle. So stop looking, start committing why your weight loss is failing, and that is podcast number 49. I hope you found this useful. It's quite a big topic to kind of come back to, but I quite like it. I like how it builds into this time of year, and it's issues that we see from lots and lots of people all of the time. So if this sounds like you, comment down below, let me know what you think. If you're over on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button so you know when the podcasts and the videos are going live. Let us know what you think. Do you struggle to commit to your approaches? Do you find you're like the squirrel on the Ice Age movies? You're always looking at the nut and getting distracted from what you're doing. But please leave us a comment, let us know what you think. Give us a review over on iTunes, and please, you can come and join the Fundamentally Fit community. Come and join our closed Facebook group, or come and join our newsletter. If you would like some help and support with either a food diary analysis or with our 3 hours weight loss group, then please, why not request a consultation with myself, and I'll be happy to have a chat and see what I can do to help move you forward. Right, that is us coming up on 24 minutes. We're closing out this podcast. I am Andy Strong from the Fundamentally Fit podcast. Until next time, have a fantastic week, and I will look forward to speaking to you in episode 59 next time.